Excuse me, Mr. Bass. May I join you?
Absolutely.
How goes it?
How are you doing?
Good, good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, let's talk Michigan, huh?
You want to talk Michigan?
Yeah, Trenton versus Armada.
You want to talk about where I'm from? I don't know if you want
How
to hear
far
about
from the old Tiger Ballpark or the new Tiger Ballpark?
that. I'm about 20 miles south of Detroit, city, Trenton, small town. But grew up a Tigers fan, and watching them play was always fun. But
Favorite Tiger?
Cecil Fielder.
Ah.
Yeah, I used to watch him hit home runs out of the ballpark at Old Tiger Stadium. And player I fell in love with at a young age. How about yourself? Who's your favorite player?
The same thing. Ted Williams from Boston. He used to tear that place apart. Remember in Tiger Stadium, the overhang in right field?
I do.
I mean, he used to, in batting practice, one of his line drive experiments was to try to drive the ball into that lower deck, and then he'd finish off batting practice going for the roof. He was the first player to hit the ball completely out of then Briggs Stadium, Tiger Stadium.
That's impressive. How'd you go about meeting him? I hear you met him.
Oh, I did meet him. I was in high school. Those days, batting practice was more open to the fans. It's better than it is now. And so we'd watch batting practice, and he would rip apart Tiger Stadium, and then we'd walk home and say, oh, wow. But one day, we were in downtown Detroit. The players stayed in the Book Cadillac Hotel.
Okay.
And on Michigan Avenue, they'd
Is that
walk.
still there?
It has been refurbished and is still there, Book Cadillac. And we, two of us here, were just teenagers, and we're watching the front door, and out they'd come. You could tell the ball players because they had wingtip shoes. And they said, and then you look up, my gosh, that's Williams. And so Williams and the manager then was Steve O'Neill walked about a mile from Book Cadillac to the stadium. And so we followed them. And whenever they walked faster, we walked faster. They walked slower, we walked slower. They'd look in a window, we'd stop looking in a window, never daring to ask for an autograph. But by the time they got to the ballpark and walked into the parking lot, our hearts were beating so hard. We were so excited that we were that close to Ted Williams.
And it'd be awesome to meet someone like that.
You met the old man Fielder. Have you met Prince Fielder?
I didn't meet him. I got a chance to play against him last year in spring training, and he about took my head off with a line drive up the middle. And he had a lot of nice things to say about me, though, when he got to first base, to our first baseman. He just said that young kid's got a good future ahead of him, and let him know that he's got some good stuff. That I got lucky. I was like, yeah, okay, you know. About took my head off, Prince. But yeah, it's good to see him back in Detroit playing, you know, where his dad played, and having some success there this year.
Let's go back to your youth in Trenton. Just a half-hour drive out of Detroit?
Yeah, 30-minute drive, not too far.
You were studying to maybe be a dentist at Wayne State?
I was going to school to be a dentist originally, and first semester, you know, hit me between the eyes a little bit when I was taking my science classes, and I knew it was going to be very tough for me, especially with baseball. Pretty much being like a full-time job in college is pretty much what baseball is. So, you know, I made a career change, and I went into a business field, specifically finance.
Well, your parents have interesting occupations. I guess you were motivated by your mother, who's a dental hygienist.
Yes, my mom's a dental hygienist. She's been doing that for 30 plus years. And I kind of got, you know, interested in being a dentist because of her.
Now, most young fellas, and myself included, there's a fascination with trains. And your father works, isn't he an engineer?
Yeah, he is. My dad's a locomotive engineer. He's been working on the trains just probably as long as my mom's been a dental hygienist, you know. And he's been doing that for a long time, since he was 19 years old. And he just told me the other day he's ready to come watch me play baseball and kind of hang that up for the rest of his life.
So what does a locomotive engineer do? Does he go on long train trips?
He does. He's been on some long trips, so he usually tells me, you know, gives me some stories about what he's seen and the kind of wildlife that he gets a chance to experience that, you know, everyday folks don't get a chance to see, which is pretty cool.
You like to travel?
I do. I like to travel, and one of the places I would love to go to is Australia.
Oh, well, I could help you. No, have I been there? I've done the Australian Open many years. Sydney is very much like San Francisco, and Melbourne's a lot like San Diego.
Really?
And the people, the Aussies, are just wonderful people. And no worries, mate. No worries. Well, you've got a teammate.
Yeah, Josh Spence. Every Australian player I've ever met have been the nicest people I've ever had the chance to meet in my life. Like, they're just down to earth, really good people. and hopefully I get a chance to meet a lot more.
I've been lucky enough to travel a lot, and Sydney would be in one of my top 5 cities all time.
So what's your number one? What's your favorite?
Paris is my favorite.
Paris.
Paris is my favorite.
Why is Paris your favorite?
There's just the charm of the French and the history of France and Paris, and the culinary experience, museums and the arts, and then it's just the fascination with the French language. If I were single and one of those young French women, or even one of those old French women came by with that French accent, oh man, I'd melt like butter.
That'd reel me in, that's for sure. Absolutely. This last offseason, went to Florida at Lake Okeechobee and the Everglades to go bass fishing, and got a chance to experience that. And in the Everglades, I actually caught an alligator.
One of the top items on my bucket list was to fly in a glider. I just thought the idea of being able to fly with no sound and just kind of float freely,
really?
And that was really one of the great experiences. We broadcasters have fun with your last name. There's a lot of
people have fun with my last name.
I imagine all your life, but does a bass like to go fishing?
I do. That's one of my favorite things to do in the off season with my dad. This last off season, and specifically, went to Florida at Lake Okeechobee and the Everglades to go bass fishing, and got a chance to experience that. And in the Everglades, I actually caught an alligator.
No way.
I tossed out my line and started reeling in, and then the line was taut. I started reeling and reeling and reeling, and all of a sudden this 4-foot alligator comes swimming next to my line. And I'm like, no way, I did not just catch an alligator. And we were with a tour guide, so he's like, hey, don't get close, those things are pretty powerful. So I just reeled the gator up to the boat, and he's trying to swim it away. He, snipped the line, so I didn't get my hang, chopped off or anything like that. But it was pretty bizarre when I was going fishing for a bass and I caught an alligator.
Did you eventually catch a bass?
I did. I caught about a dozen bass that trip. Usually up in Michigan, we catch 3-4 pound bass, and I got a chance to reel in some 8-9 pound bass, and they look like whales compared to the ones that I'm used to. But yeah, that was a fun trip, and hopefully I can go back again and maybe go for some peacock bass.
So you're with your dad in a boat fishing for bass, and that's a time to bond and talk?
Yeah, that's our bonding time.
Yeah, what do you talk about?
I'm gone for 8-9 months out of the year, so my dad and I, we catch up, what's going on at home. So we'll talk about everything and anything, baseball, golf, fishing, music, you name it, we talk about it. And I like to mess with my dad. We have a lot of inside jokes and quote movie lines and things like that. We'll throw at each other and just have a good time.
Not that you would go fish for these, but I heard that you actually have a fascination for sharks.
I do. My dream is to be in a shark cage in South Africa and be like face to face with like a 20-foot great white shark.
Oh, come on.
Yes. Hey, I'm safe. I'm in a cage. I'm not gonna get eaten. But I would just like to see how big, those sharks are in person, because, at the zoo, I don't think it does justice, or at the aquariums that we can go to. I actually want to be like in nature with the 20-foot great white shark, and that's pretty big.
I bet Dad doesn't.
Do you have any fascinations like that?
Dad
what's your dream vacation?
Listen, I gave up my dream to do Acapulco cliff diving. I've given that one up.
Cliff diving and me, I'm not a big fan of heights.
I'm kidding. Actually, I did one of the top items on my bucket list was to fly in a glider. I just thought the idea of being able to fly with no sound and just kind of float freely. But I was able to do one better. Down in the Mediterranean, my wife and I, we were on this little boat with others on this tour, and there was a 6,000-foot mountain, and we saw hang gliders coming off. And I said, any chance we could do that? And the guide said, yeah. We get all the way to the top, and literally you get harnessed with somebody behind you that knows what they're doing. And they said, when I say walk off the mountain, you start walking. And there's a moment of truth in that. And all of a sudden, it took 35, 40 minutes for us to get all the way down to the bottom. And they were so adept, they landed within 20 feet of where we paid our money to go up the hill.
Really?
And that was really one of the great experiences. So outside of Australia, any others that you're interested in?
I would like to go to Germany, because that's where I have a lot of my heritage from, is a lot of German in my blood, and something that I would definitely like to see one day. I heard it's a beautiful country. Have you ever been there?
Oh yeah, it was Munich in 1972 for the Olympic Games, and I was in my mid to late 30s then. I'd never been outside the United States. And I feel well-traveled now, but I was assigned by the radio station to go cover the Olympics. Rented a car, and then all of a sudden I was on the Autobahn going where we were staying south of Munich, and the signs aren't English anymore.
Right.
In fact, that's one sign's Ausfahrt. And I kept saying on the Autobahn, Ausfahrt, Ausfahrt. I said, man, I thought I knew a little about German geography. I never heard of any city Ausfahrt. Well, Ausfahrt is exit. And I was really lost.
The Autobahn, did you top out your car that you were driving? Did you let it fly?
Those Germans were flying by me like jet airplanes. I mean, no, you better be ready.
That's something I would like to experience.
Well, you can drive fast there.
I would like to take like a Maserati or Ferrari on that and see how fast I can get it up to.
You got a lot of things to do.
It's Game 7 of the World Series, bottom of the ninth, full count, bases loaded. We're down by a run, and Anthony Bass is up at the plate.
Here's Central Michigan, where I went to. So here's where Detroit.
That's where I'm at. It's pretty funny that you understand what this all means.
I heard you don't mind working in the kitchen.
I like to cook. Yeah, I mean, I can cook the basics, spaghetti. I can make myself omelet in the morning if I wanted to. I can cook up some Alfredo, chicken Alfredo dinner. Nothing like crazy, but I could take care of myself.
Barbecue? Michiganders can barbecue.
Yeah, we can. We can barbecue a little bit. My dad teaches me, and usually when I go home in the fall time, it's just warm enough where we can fire up the grill in the backyard and put on some salmon or some chicken or some steaks and barbecue them up or fillet them up, and then have a good dinner.
Someday, maybe we can get the whole ball club out to our house, and I'll make my famed Enbergers.
Enbergers.
This is.
What's in the Enberger?
I can't tell you the total recipe, or I'd have to kill you.
Oh, okay.
It's everybody.
That makes sense.
Everybody wants it, and the key to it is my own special recipe of baked beans. And then the buns are scoopers on the side. You can't make a hamburger; that's a violation. An Enberger, you don't put buns on it, but you use those as the scooper to eat the beans
delicious.
and hamburgers.
You're making me hungry right now.
Enbergers, they're.
I'm going to have to talk to my teammates and ask them if they would like to go to Dick Enberg's house for a nice Enberger.
That would be fun. I think we should try to plan on that. Maybe we can celebrate a World Series.
Hey, that would be great. We would love to do that, absolutely.
In your dreams, I mean, when you, as a kid or even now, I mean, that's got to be the dream of every ball player.
Yeah, ever since I was little, I always remembered myself in my backyard at a young age. I would grab my baseball bat, and we had like a window in the back where I could see my reflection. And basically, I would just replay in my head, it's Game 7 of the World Series, bottom of the ninth, full count, bases loaded. We're down by a run, and Anthony Bass is up at the plate. I'm a pitcher now, but at the time, I acted like I was a position player. I was a hitter, and I would just like go through my motion, my swing and everything, and I would just like go through it. And here comes the pitch, the swing, and this ball's hit deep. It's going. Game over, World Series champions. Like I would go like into it. Like I was pretty adamant about the World Series and winning it all. And even at a young age, I just took off with it and had a lot of fun. And of course, my mom would knock on the window and say, "Hey, dinner's ready. Get in here. Are you crazy?" I was like, "All right." And then I had to set my bat down and go in and eat dinner. But winning the World Series would be ultimate goal in my life.
That's anyone who loves this great game. It's the same. I can remember my mother, opening up the window and yelling out, "Come on in! It's time for supper." She said, "Give me a little more time."
Yeah.
She
never
said,
want to go
"Who's
in.
winning?"
You never want to go in.
No.
And at my house, we had a big white garage. It was like just painted. And I love to pitch, and I love to kind of like what I was saying, talk about situations. And I'd be on my driveway, right before dinner time, and I'd have a tennis ball, and I would just be like winding up and pitching against the garage door. And eventually, over time, there's started being these black marks on this big white garage door. My mom was not happy, and like it was something I loved to do, so I'd do it behind her back. And then she'd like notice, like when she'd come home from work, "Anthony, have you been throwing tennis balls against the garage door?" It's like, "Yes." She's like, "You need to stop doing that." I'm like, "Mom, one day when I make it, I'll get you a new garage door." So she goes, "All right, I'm holding you to that word." So I owe her a garage door now, I think.
You're about ready to be able to lay down the money for that garage.
I think I owe her a garage door.
Are they in the
now.
same house that you?
They are. They're still in the same house. They've been there since I was born. I think they're always going to have it. Eventually, I think they'd like to travel, see me play wherever that may be. but it's something that I think they'll have for the rest of their life, that house. And
So if you're driving in Trenton, Michigan, just look for a white house with a garage door with a bunch of marks on it.
Yeah, a bunch of black marks, and that's my house. That's for me. That's
You're
what it's all
a
about.
family of 4, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I heard you're you like to stir the pot now and then, be an antagonist.
Yeah, if my sisters and my brother were here, they'd definitely agree with you on that one. I'm definitely the antagonizer of the family. Ever since I was little, I always seemed to stir my brother and my older sisters up, and always got away with everything, it seemed like. You know, it was never my fault, it was always their fault.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person now, I promise, but it was something that I grew up, you know, that they called me was the antagonizer, but it was a lot of fun. It was all in fun.
Your sister was an athlete, right?
Yeah, she was. My sister Amy, I have 2 older sisters, Beth Ann and Amy. Amy was the softball player. She was an all-state softball player back in high school, and then she went on to a community college in Kalamazoo and went on and played there for a couple of years. But now she's a coach back home at White Lake. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Is that in the Lower Peninsula?
That's in the Lower Peninsula, but it's up north, about 3 hours north of Trenton, about right up here.
Yeah, that's what we do. We go this kind of thing. Here's Central Michigan, where I went to
yeah.
school. Here's where Detroit,
That's where I'm at.
And then where's she, up in here?
She's like up in this area.
Up around there. That's
Yeah.
God's country up there.
It is. It's pretty far up there.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny that you understand what this all means.
Have they been able to see you as a big leaguer?
They have.
seen you?
They came out to opening week this year, and then last year when I made my debut in Colorado, back June 13th, a day I'll never forget. My agent flew them out, as well as my sister, and they got a chance to experience, you know, my first day in the big leagues, and it was, like I said, it was a moment I'll never forget. Obviously, the beaches was awesome, you know, being by the water, and you know, it seems like there's a lot going on, you know, at nighttime here.
When were you first fascinated with?
I was fascinated probably when I was in high school. My dad played the drums back in the day. Kind of got me into music.
So for a couple kids from Michigan, this is very different. San Diego, the lifestyle, the city. What do you like most about it?
Absolutely. I like being by the water, of course. You know, that's pretty cool to see. And then also, you know, I can see the airplanes come into the airport from where I'm staying at, which is pretty neat. It almost looks like they're going to be like, they're not going to make it because, you know, they're so close to the buildings coming in. But, you know, it's pretty cool to see those huge airplanes up close like that. Obviously, the beaches is awesome, you know, being by the water. And, you know, it seems like there's a lot going on, you know, at nighttime here. You know, there's a lot of, you know, nice places to go and you know, have fun with your friends and have a good time. And something that I like to do.
In many ways, it's a combination of quiet, old Navy town. They like to think of it as being a Navy town, some of the old timers.
Yeah.
And yet it's with the ballpark and the downtown restaurants and all, it's really become a great place to enjoy life.
It really is. There's a lot of good food here too, which I love to eat food. So that's another plus for the city.
I would just guess, unless that's your bat and glove in there, that you have a guitar with you.
Actually, I like to carry my bat and glove around with me. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's my guitar. I like to play my guitar.
Why don't you hold it out and let's see, maybe you could teach me a couple of chords.
Yeah.
When were you first fascinated with playing?
I was fascinated probably when I was in high school. My dad played the drums back in the day, and kind of got me into music.
He's a drummer, still active as a drummer, your dad?
My dad, he doesn't really play drums anymore because he's pretty busy with his job. And then us, of course, watching us play baseball and softball and other sports. But from time to time, we like to go to Guitar Center, the store, and we'll play every single guitar in the store. And then usually he'll find himself a drum set there, and he'll go on there and give me a little something. I've had this for about 5-6 years now.
You take it on the road trips?
I do take it on the road trips so I can work on my finger picking and all that good stuff. And this is a gift from my parents for Christmas, actually, years ago, like I said, and just picked it up, and yeah, been playing since then.
Let's hear a little music.
I'll show you a couple chords. A little A chord, nice and easy. Just 3 fingers right here on the D, G, and E string right here. Just that's pretty basic chord, just A chord, and then you have a G chord, and then you have couple of other chords here. You got a D chord, and then usually you can just put that all into a song. Just
I love the
I'll
sound.
keep it at that.
I love the sound without it being electric.
yeah. That's why I like the acoustic guitar. You don't need an amplifier or anything like that. You can just take it with you on the road. It's perfect for baseball, and just work on a couple of chords here and there, and see where it goes.
I always ask the players about their cars because next to a musical instrument, that first automobile is very special to them.
Yes.
How about you?
My first car is very special to me. Still have it. My first actual car I owned was when I got drafted in 2008. I bought myself a Dodge Challenger. It's an old, not an old, but it's a muscle car. And I kind of like those kind of cars, like the fast, sporty cars. Because back in high school, we all had to share a truck. My brother, myself, my sisters, we all had to drive a truck. So I knew as soon as I signed.
Like a pickup truck?
Yeah, it was like a '97 pickup truck, Dodge Dakota, and whew, that thing's hanging by threads now. But I knew when I signed, I wanted to spoil myself and get myself a nice car, and that's what I did. I still have it.
Well, let's go outside and maybe you could give me a ride back to the ballpark.
Absolutely, let's do it.
All right. I'll give you my address in La Jolla. We'll get ready for those Enbergers. Huh?
Oh,
and you can
absolutely.
play a little music. You'll have background music. We've never had that.
I can serenade my teammates, Oh, beautiful day.
That was good.